The large alien ships hung in Earth's orbit like silver coins in the sky. Inside the main ship, Captain Lurt of the Zarian race paced nervously. His thin blue fingers tapped against his leg as he walked. "They have answered our call," said his second-in-command. The Zarian had traveled across many star systems to reach Earth. A deadly disease was killing their people back home. Millions had already died. The Zarian scientists had failed to find a cure. Their last hope was Earth, a planet known for its strange but clever inhabitants. Earth sent up a small ship carrying just one human. Lurt had expected a team of top scientists or military leaders. Instead, they sent Alan Ward, a regular doctor from a small research center. Alan stepped onto the alien ship with a calm face. He carried only a small bag of equipment and wore simple clothes. He looked around with curious eyes at the strange curved walls and glowing lights of the ship. "Welcome to our vessel," Captain Lurt said through a translation device. "Thank you for coming to help us." Alan nodded. "I understand your people are suffering. Tell me about this disease." Lurt led Alan to their medical center. The walls were lined with pods containing sick Zarian. Their normally blue skin had turned a sickly gray. Some shook with pain. "The disease attacks our nervous system," explained Lurt. "It starts with headaches, then moves to muscle failure. Death comes within 30 days. Alan studied the medical charts and samples the aliens provided. He worked quietly for hours, occasionally asking questions. The Zarian watched him with hope in their large, round eyes. On the third day, Alan requested to speak with Lurt privately. "This disease isn't natural," Alan said. "Someone created it specifically to target your people." Lurt's 4 fingers curled into fists. "The Voraks. They have wanted our territories for centuries." Alan nodded. "I studied the disease structure. It's complex, but not impossible to fight. I need to bring more humans here." Within a week, 3 more humans arrived. Mary Costa, a virus specialist, Paul Green, a genetic engineer, and Sam Wright, a former military doctor. The humans set up their equipment and began working in ways that confused the Zarian. Instead of just trying to heal the sick, they talked about attacking the virus. They used words like target, destroy, and eliminate. "Why do you speak of medicine as if it's war?" Lurt asked Alan one day. Alan looked up from his microscope. "Because that's how humans think. We don't just solve problems. We fight them." The humans worked day and night. They rarely slept. They argued loudly sometimes, but always returned to work with new energy. When they made progress, they celebrated with strange rituals, slapping hands together or pumping fists in the air. After 2 weeks, Mary made a breakthrough. "We can use the virus's structure against itself," she announced. The other humans gathered around her screen excitedly. Lurt watched from the doorway. He was grateful for their help, but something about these humans unsettled him. They seemed to enjoy the challenge too much. Their eyes lit up when discussing the virus, as if they were hunters tracking prey. The Zarian had asked for medical help. What they got instead were warriors who fought with microscopes and test tubes. Lurt wondered what other surprises these humans would bring. The humans transformed the Zarian medical lab within days. What had been a quiet place of healing became a bustling command center. Maps of infection rates covered the walls. Computer screens displayed rotating models of the virus structure. Ellen spent hours studying the disease samples through powerful microscopes. Mary tested different compounds against the virus, while Paul analyzed its genetic code. "This is amazing work," said Lurt, watching the humans with growing curiosity. "Have you found anything helpful?" San looked up from his data tablet. "We've confirmed your suspicions. This virus was definitely engineered by someone with advanced knowledge of Zarian biology." "The Voraks," Lurt said quietly. "Whoever made this was very clever," Paul added. "The virus changes its outer shell every few days. That's why your treatments failed." On the 5th day, Alan called the Zarian leaders together. The humans had set up a large screen showing a magnified view of the virus. It looked like a spiky ball with tentacle-like structures extending from its surface. "We've identified how the virus works," Alan explained. "These protein spikes attach to your nerve cells and inject toxic material. That's what causes the pain and eventually kills." Mary stepped forward. "But we found something interesting. The virus has a weakness in its reproduction cycle." The humans explained their discovery in simple terms. The virus needed to make copies of itself every 12 hours. During this process, it became vulnerable for about 30 minutes. "If we can attack during that window, we might be able to kill it before it adapts," Paul said. Lurk tilted his head. "But our scientists tried many medicines already." "We're not just thinking about medicine," Sam replied. "We're thinking about weapons." This statement sent a ripple of unease through the Zarian leaders. In their culture, healing and harming were completely separate concepts. The idea of turning medicine into a weapon felt wrong. Later that day, Alan requested a private meeting with Lurt. "We need information about the Vorax," he said. "Their biology, their planets, their technology." "Why?" asked Lurt. "I thought you were here to cure our people. To fight this disease properly, we need to understand who created it and why," Alan explained. "This isn't just a medical problem. It's a security problem." Reluctantly, Lurt provided access to their database of information about the Vorax, a reptilian species known for their aggression and technical skills. The humans studied this information with intense focus. They asked questions about Vorax weaknesses and defenses that made the Zarian uncomfortable. "Why do you need to know about Vorax breathing systems?" one Zarian scientist asked. "Everything connects," Mary replied simply. By the end of the week, the humans had created a treatment plan. It involved engineering a countervirus that would specifically target the disease during its vulnerable reproduction phase. "It's like sending in a hunter to kill the virus," Paul explained. "Our countervirus will seek and destroy." The Zarian approved the plan, desperate to save their dying people. The first tests on sick patients showed promising results. Some began to recover within days. But late one night, Lurt discovered the humans working on something they hadn't discussed. Large screens showed maps of Vorax territory. Sam was analyzing Vorax biological data. "What is this?" Lurt asked. "This goes beyond curing our people." Alan looked up, his eyes tired but determined. "The Vorax didn't just attack your people with this virus. They declared war. And humans don't just treat the symptoms. We eliminate the cause." For the first time, Lurt understood what kind of help he had really asked for. The humans weren't just healers. They were something his peaceful species had never encountered before. "Your treatment is working," said Lurt, showing Alan the latest medical reports. The number of recovering Zarian had doubled in just 3 days. "We are grateful." Alan nodded but didn't smile. "It's only a temporary solution. The virus is already starting to adapt." In the main lab, Mary and Paul worked on improving their countervirus. Their area was now separated from the Zarian scientists by a clear wall. The humans had requested this barrier, claiming they needed to control the environment for their experiments. But Lurt suspected they also wanted privacy. "We need to try a different approach," Mary said during their daily meeting. "Something the virus, and its creators, won't expect." The humans requested strange materials. Samples of Earth bacteria, metals not found in Zarian medicine, and access to communication systems. When asked why, they gave vague answers about exploring all options. On the 10th day, a new human arrived. Kate Wilson stepped off the transport ship with a confident stride. Unlike the others, she wore no lab coat. Her eyes scanned the ship with sharp attention. "Who is this?" Lurt asked. "Kate specializes in biological defense systems," Alan explained. "She works with our military." The word military caused concern among the Zarian leaders. Their species had moved beyond warfare centuries ago. They used their advanced technology for exploration and healing, not fighting. "We didn't ask for military help," one Zarian official protested. "You asked for human help," Kate replied calmly. This is how humans solve problems. That evening, Kate presented a bold new plan to the Zareen Council. The humans had created not just a treatment for sick individuals, but a preventive solution that could protect entire populations. We've engineered a defensive organism, Kate explained, showing images of microscopic structures. When introduced to your people, it will create immunity to the virus. The Zareen medical experts studied the data with interest. The science was sound, if unusual. But there's more, Kate continued. This organism can be modified to spread to the Vorac's if they come in contact with your people. The council room fell silent. What would it do to them? Lurt asked quietly. Nothing harmful, Kate assured them. It would simply make them unable to create or carry bioweapons against your species again. It targets specific genes related to virus engineering. The Zareen were shocked. Using biology as both shield and sword was beyond their ethical boundaries. Yet they couldn't deny the logic. This isn't just about healing anymore, said an elder Zareen. You're suggesting we take action against the Vorac's directly. Sam stepped forward. The Vorac's attacked you with a biological weapon. They're watching right now, waiting for your species to weaken before they invade. We've seen this pattern in our own history. The humans showed intelligence reports gathered from Zareen data. Vorax ships were indeed gathering near the borders of Zareen space. We came here to help you survive, Alan said. Not just the virus, but what comes after. Lurt looked at his fellow council members. Their faces showed the same conflict he felt, relief mixed with fear of crossing an ethical line. We need time to consider this approach, Lurt finally said. Later, Lurt visited the human quarters. He found them gathered around holographic displays, arguing intensely about something. They quieted when he entered. I want to understand, Lurt said. Why do you approach healing this way? Alan considered the question. Humans evolved as problem solvers, but also as protectors. When we see a threat, we don't just want to escape it. We want to make sure it never returns. As Lurt left, he heard Kate say quietly to the others, they'll agree eventually. They have no choice. For the first time, Lurt wondered if asking humans for help had been a mistake. The Zareen Council debated for 3 days. Meanwhile, the humans continued their work without waiting for approval. They modified their lab space even further, adding security measures that made some Zareen uncomfortable. We've given them too much freedom, warned one council member. They act as if this is their ship. Lurt understood the concern, but the medical reports were clear. The human treatment had saved over 10,000 Zareen lives already. The death rate was dropping for the first time since the plague began. On the 4th day, alarms sounded throughout the ship. A Vorax scout vessel had been detected near the fleet. They're likely gathering intelligence, Kate said in the emergency meeting. Testing your defenses. The Zareen had no warships. Their fleet consisted only of research and medical vessels. Their usual response to aggression was to retreat and negotiate from a distance. We should move the fleet to another sector, suggested a Zareen commander. Alan shook his head. Running won't solve this. The Vorax will follow. They've invested too much in this biological attack to give up now. For the first time, the humans revealed that they had prepared for this moment. From their quarters, they'd brought out devices no one had seen before, small silver spheres with blinking lights. What are these? Lurt asked. Protection, Sam answered. If the Vorax board this ship, these will release our defensive organism into the air. Any Vorax who breathes it in will lose their ability to handle bioweapons. The Zareen were shocked at this revelation. The humans had built these devices without permission, crossing boundaries of trust. You went too far, Lurt said angrily. This is our ship, our people. And you're dying, Mary replied firmly. The Vorax count on your peaceful nature. They know you won't fight back effectively. Before the argument could continue, a message arrived from the Vorax ship. Their commander, a tall reptilian figure with scaled skin, appeared on the main screen. Zareen vessels, The Vorax commander hissed. "We notice you harbor humans now. This is unwise. Humans are dangerous. Send them away, and we may discuss terms for your surrender." The message confirmed what the humans had suspected all along. The virus was just the first step in a Vorax plan to take Zerine territory. Lurt looked at the human team, seeing them in a new light. Perhaps their aggressive approach was justified. "What do you suggest we do?" he asked Alan. "Let us talk to them," Alan said, surprising everyone. Against better judgment, Lurt allowed it. Alan stepped in front of the communication screen, facing the Vorax commander with calm confidence. "My name is Alan Ward. I represent Earth. We know you created the virus killing the Zerine. We've already neutralized it." The Vorax commander's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Our virus has no cure." Alan smiled slightly. "You underestimated humans. We've done more than cure it. We've turned it against you." He held up a small vial of clear liquid. "This contains a modified version of your own virus. It doesn't kill, but it targets specific Vorax genes. Any Vorax exposed will lose the ability to create or handle biological weapons forever." The Vorax commander hissed angrily. "You lie." "Test us," Kate said, stepping forward. "We've already released it into your scout ship's ventilation system." This was news even to Lurt. Somehow, the humans had acted without anyone knowing. The Vorax commander's face showed confusion, then fury. The transmission cut off abruptly. Minutes later, the scout ship retreated at high speed. Lurt turned to the humans, his feelings mixed between gratitude and horror. "You may have saved us," he said quietly, "but your methods are effective," Alan finished. "And this is just the beginning." News of the confrontation with the Vorax scout ship spread quickly through the Zerine fleet. Some celebrated this rare victory against their longtime enemies. Others worried about what would happen next. "The Vorax won't retreat so easily," Lurt said during an emergency meeting. "They will return with more ships." Alan nodded. "We're counting on it." The humans had taken over an entire section of the ship. Behind sealed doors, they worked on something they called Project Shield. Only Lurt was allowed to visit, and what he saw there troubled him deeply. Large tanks filled with cloudy liquid lined the walls. Inside, small organisms multiplied rapidly. Machines hummed, processing data and running simulations on screens that covered every surface. "What exactly are you creating?" Lurt asked, watching Paul extract samples from one tank. "Think of it as an immune system," Paul explained, "but one that works for your entire species, not just individual bodies." Kate showed Lurt a simulation. Tiny engineered cells attached themselves to Zerine's skin, creating an invisible barrier against the Vorax virus. The same cells, if transferred to a Vorax, would target specific genetic sequences and disable them. "It won't harm them physically," Kate assured him. "It just removes their ability to create or handle bioweapons." "How can you be certain?" Lurt asked. "Have you tested this?" The humans exchanged glances. "We have samples of Vorax biology," Sam admitted. "We've run thousands of simulations." Lurt was shocked. "How did you get those samples?" "It's better if you don't know," Alan said quietly. That night, Lurt couldn't sleep. The humans had saved thousands of Zerine lives already. Their treatment was working, but their methods felt wrong. Too aggressive, too invasive. The next morning, Zerine sensors detected a large Vorax battle fleet approaching. Not just one scout ship this time, but 15 warships moving directly toward them. "They're coming to finish what the virus started," Kate said when the council gathered. "We need to deploy Project Shield now." The Zerine leaders argued intensely. Some wanted to flee, others to negotiate. But reports from their home planets showed the virus was still killing millions. They needed more time for the treatment to reach everyone. Finally, Lurt made the decision. "Do what you must to protect our people." The humans moved quickly, as if they had been waiting for this moment. They loaded their engineered organisms into the ship's environmental systems. Then they did something unexpected. They requested a small transport vessel. "Where are you going?" Lurt asked. "To meet the Vorax," Alan answered. "We need to deliver our message personally." "That's suicide," a Zarian officer protested. Mary smiled grimly. "Humans are full of surprises." Against all advice, 4 humans, Alan, Kate, Sam, and Paul, departed in a small ship toward the approaching Vorax fleet. Lurt watched on the monitors as their tiny vessel flew directly toward the massive enemy warships. The humans sent a message to the Lid Vorax ship, requesting to board. Surprisingly, the Vorax agreed. Why would they allow this? A Zarian officer wondered. Curiosity. Mary explained from the lab where she continued working. Or arrogance. They want to know how we countered their virus. Hours passed with no communication. The Zarian feared the worst. Then suddenly, the humans' transport ship emerged from the Vorax fleet. Behind them, the Vorax ships stopped advancing. They held position, neither attacking nor retreating. When the humans returned, they looked tired but satisfied. "What happened?" Lurt demanded. Alan held up an empty container. "We delivered Project Shield directly to their command ship. Right now, it's spreading through their fleet. They let you do this." Lurt couldn't believe it. "No," Kate said. They didn't know until it was too late. The Zarian realized then that the humans had done something their peaceful species could never imagine. They had turned the Vorax's own tactics against them, fighting disease with disease. It was effective. It was clever. And it filled the Zarian with a deep, unsettling fear of their human allies. 3 days passed without any movement from the Vorax fleet. They remained in position, silent and watchful. The Zarian ships maintained a safe distance, nervous about what might happen next. "Why don't they attack?" asked a young Zarian officer, watching the enemy ships on the main screen. Mary smiled slightly as she checked readings on her tablet. "They can't. Not the way they planned to." The humans explained that Project Shield had worked perfectly. The engineered organism had spread through the Vorax command ship's air systems. Any Vorax who breathed it and lost their ability to handle biological weapons. Their bodies simply could not process the toxic compounds anymore. Their entire battle strategy depended on using more advanced versions of the virus, Alan said during the council meeting. Now those weapons are useless to them. The Zarian leaders were amazed but also troubled. The humans had won without firing a single conventional weapon. They had changed the biology of an enemy species without consent. "What happens now?" Lurt asked. "Now we take the fight to them," Kate replied. The other humans nodded in agreement. This statement shocked the council. The Zarian had never launched offensive actions against other species. "But they're already defeated," one elder said. "The virus is being cured. Our people are safe." Sam shook his head. "They'll develop new weapons. The Vorax won't stop until they get what they want. Your territories, your resources." The humans presented a bold plan. They would visit the main Vorax worlds and release Project Shield into their atmospheres. This would prevent them from ever creating biological weapons again. "This goes beyond defense," Lurt protested. "You're talking about changing an entire species permanently." "We're talking about saving yours," Paul countered. "The Vorax have tried to wipe you out. They would have succeeded without our help." The debate lasted for hours. The Zarian believed in peace above all else. Yet they could not deny that the Vorax threat remained as long as they could develop new weapons. In the end, they reached a compromise. The humans could take action, but only against military research centers, not civilian populations. A small team of humans and Zarian volunteers prepared for the mission. They modified 3 small ships with special delivery systems for Project Shield. The plan was to target 7 key Vorax military research bases where biological weapons were developed. The night before the mission, Lurt found Alan alone in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. "I must ask you something," Lurt said. "Does this kind of conflict come naturally to your species?" Alan considered the question. Humans evolved as both creators and destroyers. We build civilizations, but we also fight fiercely to protect what we care about. And you care about us, the Zerreen. We do now, Alan replied honestly. When we see suffering, we want to end it. When we see a threat, we want to eliminate it. That's how humans help. The mission launched at dawn. 3 small ships slipped past the stationary Vorax fleet. Using advanced stealth technology the humans had brought from Earth, they approached the nearest Vorax military world undetected. The first target was the largest research center, a massive complex where the virus had been created. The humans dropped specially designed canisters into the ventilation systems. Within hours, Project SHIELD had spread throughout the facility. By the 3rd day, all 7 targets had been hit. The human Zerreen team returned triumphant. Reports confirmed that the Vorax biological weapons programs had been effectively neutralized. When the Vorax finally sent a message, it wasn't a threat but a request for negotiation. For the first time in centuries, they were willing to discuss peace terms with the Zerreen. "You've given us more than a cure," Lurt told the humans. "You've given us a future." Alan nodded, but his expression remained serious. "Just remember what it cost to get here." The Zerreen had survived, but they would never forget the methods humans used to save them. Methods that still gave them nightmares. 1 month after the mission to the Vorax worlds, life began returning to normal for the Zerreen. The virus was completely gone from their population. For the first time in years, no new cases appeared anywhere in their territory. The Vorax had signed a peace agreement. With their biological weapons program disabled, they had little choice but to negotiate. The treaty included trade agreements and clear borders between the 2 species. On the main Zerreen ship, preparations were underway for the humans' departure. Their quarters were being packed up. The special lab equipment would return with them to Earth. Lurt stood in the emptying laboratory, remembering how it had looked when filled with the humans' strange devices and blinking screens. "It's hard to believe it's over," he said to Alan, who was checking final data reports. "The crisis is over," Alan corrected him, "but things will never be the same." This was true. The Zerreen had changed in ways both visible and invisible. Their medical science had advanced rapidly with human help. Their defensive systems had improved, but most importantly, their understanding of the galaxy had shifted. That afternoon, Lurt called a special ceremony in the main hall. All the humans were there. Alan, Mary, Paul, Sam, Kate, and the others who had joined later. The hall was filled with Zerreen who had recovered from the virus. "We gather to honor our friends from Earth," Lurt began. "They came when we asked for help. They saved our species from extinction." He presented each human with a crystal medallion, the highest honor in Zerreen culture. As he placed the gift around Alan's neck, he spoke quietly. "You did more than save us. You changed us." Alan nodded. "That's what contact between different species does." After the ceremony, news arrived that surprised everyone. 3 other species from nearby systems had sent urgent messages to Earth. All were facing different crises: a deadly storm destroying planets, an aggressive neighboring species, a failing planetary core. "They're asking for humans," Mary said, showing Lurt the messages. "They've heard what we did here." The Zerreen felt a strange mix of emotions. Pride that their alliance with humans had been successful, but also concern for these other species who did not know what they were really asking for. That evening, as the humans prepared to board their ship back to Earth, Lurt had a final conversation with Alan. "Will you help these other species the same way you helped us?" he asked. "We'll help them," Alan replied. "But each situation is different. I feel I should warn them," Lurt said, "about what to expect from humans." Alan smiled slightly. "What would you tell them?" Lurt thought carefully. "I would say humans are the most effective helpers in the galaxy. They will solve your problem completely, but their methods may give you nightmares." "Is that a bad thing?" Alan asked. "Nightmares fade. Extinction is forever." The human ship departed the next morning. The Zerreen watched it go with mixed feelings. They were thankful, certainly. Their people would live on because of human intervention. The Voraks would never threaten them with biological weapons again. Yet something about the experience left them changed. The Zerreen had always believed that problems should be solved with the gentlest possible approach. Humans had shown them another way. Direct, aggressive, and undeniably effective. In the months that followed, Zerreen scientists began studying the humans' methods more closely. Their medical researchers became more bold in their approaches. Their defense systems grew stronger. When another species contacted them about the humans, Lert sent a simple message. They will save you. They will protect you. But understand what you're asking for. Humans don't just solve problems. They eliminate threats. Their help comes with a price. The question is, are you willing to pay it? Across the galaxy, word spread about the strange species from Earth. They were miracle workers who could solve impossible problems. But those who worked with them never forgot the experience or the nightmares that came with it.